Hello and welcome to this workshop on academic freedom. Uh, Today we're going to explore this subject in depth. Academic freedom is one of the critical topics that influence activities in higher ed, not only higher ed but all levels of the academic spectrum. Before we get further in our session, I'd just like to give you a profile, a framework of how our workshop is going to be conducted. We're going to start out by establishing a definitional framework for academic freedom. What is it that we're talking about when we talk about academic freedom? Who is involved in the context? Who are the critical players to which the subject of academic freedom address? How does it carry over into the conduct of classroom activities? Next, we look at distance learning. Does academic freedom operate differently in the context of online or distance learning as against the physical on-campus person-to-person interface, which has traditionally constituted the framework of the teacher-student dichotomy. We will look at any limits to the prerogative of teachers. Teachers guard very jealously their whole province, and certainly they're in control of the tutorial space, and any encroachment against that is quite strongly resisted on their part. We will look at the institutional framework in which teachers operate. No one community is an island by itself. It operates within the context of a larger body, and certainly the institution that provides that context has certain very important rights. We will at the end look at some specific case studies. Two of those cases in particular is going to be one Sweezy versus New Hampshire, and the second case is going to be Urofsky versus Gilmore. And in these cases, you will see much of the antecedent topics that we have introduced put to the test. This session is going to be interactive in the sense that I want to engage you as closely as possible in the process, because it is out of that interaction that we solidify our thoughts and get some deep understanding as to what the subject, how the subject impacts us. Well, to start off with a definition of academic freedom. Academic freedom can be defined as the process that allows professors, faculty, to be able to conduct their business, the business of teaching, the business of research, and the business of bringing their points of view to bear on matters of academic and institutional interests. Those are the three very important elements by which we measure academic freedom. The freedom to teach, the freedom to research, and the freedom to speak out. That's from the point of view of the faculty. But the subject of academic interest goes beyond faculty. It incorporates and addresses all the stakeholders in academia. And who are the other players? Can anybody make a suggestion? Who are some of the other players? Of course, the students. Students. Students, professors just don't teach themselves. There's an interchange with the students. The students are the recipients largely of the information which is being exchanged. And there's a third group. Did I hear? Yes. Very good. The institution. The institution is another stakeholder in the process of academia. So we look at academic interest from the point of view of the professors, from the point of view of the students, and also from the point of view of the institution. Each have their own perspective and by consequence their own interests in discharge of this particular perspective. The history of academic freedom goes way back to Greek, to the period of the Greeks. Socrates, in fact, Socrates was one of the first established contemporary historians or philosophers who pressed for the right to pursue truth and the right to inquire unchecked. So much so that, of course, you know what happened to him. Yes, he challenged the system and was killed because of his pursuit of this inquiry. His son, one of his students, Plato, of course, took up because this whole process of academic pursuit and gave it an institutional framework. So that's as far back as the historical records show in terms of academic freedom. But as we understand academic freedom today, the modern underpinnings go back to 1940, when there was an act, the modern academic freedom was born. So the rights and the privileges, as we understand academic freedom today, had its modern genesis in laws being passed in 1940. And when we hear about academic freedoms, one of the major institutional forces, agencies acting on behalf of this subject is the AAUP, the American Association of University Professors. One of the important constraints on academic freedom is that we're going to take a break here and pick up in the next workshop on those other areas that we talked about. Take a 5-minute break and we will be right back.